Do you like quiet?
I do like quiet.
How often do you get it?
With 3 kids and all the running around.
I have a really hard question for you. What's your favorite book?
Oh, man.
She said it was hard.
It is a hard one. Things that I encountered in retail were so crazy that then moving into libraries was like, this is the worst you have to deal with. It's great being somewhere that feels like it really cares about its population, its community. My colleagues are all wonderful people who I feel like I learn from every day. Yeah, just getting to do something that I love with people who also love doing it it's great.
Hi, and welcome to Good Job New Mexico. I'm Stacy Johnston.
And I'm Carla Melendez. Today we are talking with Nadia Orozco-Sahi, who is a learning, research, and engagement librarian at the University of New Mexico.
Her job is so fascinating, and I love her research project that she's doing on silence.
On silence, yes, which, if you hear a little bit about her background, it'll kind of make sense as to why she is so fascinated by silence, right? Mm-hmm. She's got twins and and another little one running around. So I think, silence is coveted.
For sure. For sure. I don't even know how she does it.
I don't know either.
Whenever I hear twins, I'm like, how are you managing life? I don't understand.
It is, but they are adorable. So I think that helps.
Yeah. And I love that she has reading times with them and she's starting them early in their passion of literature. So that's amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah. I loved how Nadia explained some of the differences between academic kind of libraries versus public libraries. And, it really kind of for me highlights the need for libraries, because it's not that, the libraries kind of telling us what the community needs. It's the other way around. The community tells the libraries what's needed, and then libraries kind of respond and provide those services. We were talking about, is it Rio Rancho that has pickleball courts?
Yeah.
That's really cool.
It's really awesome. We just told my kid about it, and he's like, let's go. He wanted to go immediately because he just got his library card. Very exciting. But they both have the same initials. And I was like, which one's your card? And my husband's like, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
I'm just going to use the card. I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't know if it was specific to this child. But yeah, he's really excited to go play a game and then go check out a book. So we're going to have to go and do that soon.
Yeah, let me know. I'll go play pickleball with you guys. I love pickleball.
Oh, okay. I'm a beginner.
Oh, well, there you go. Let's do it.
I feel like it's going to be easier for me than tennis.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have to run as far.
Yes. If you play tennis, you're good with pickleball.
Honestly, the worst, this is way off topic of Nadia, but the worst tennis experience of my life was my husband. We were just newly married. Brad. We were in Arizona in the heat. Why we're outside, I don't know. You shouldn't be outside.
Heat stroke?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
My face was deep purple, and he thought it was hilarious to keep hitting the ball as far to the right or the left. So I had to run the distance, and he just stayed in one spot.
Oh, you should have done the same to him.
I should have, but you know what? I guess I'm just sweeter.
Yeah.
So whatever.
Absolutely.
And that was my worst tennis experience, and I think I might have retired after that.
That was it. Well, okay, you should move on to pickleball now.
I'm ready for pickleball because this particular pickleball court is inside.
Oh,
air conditioned.
Perfect. Yeah, there you go.
I'm not exposed to the elements.
With that.
I'm there for it. I hope there's a story time right afterwards.
Exactly. You can get your pickleball and your books.
Yes. And so that is the plan. And also you can check out video games. There's all these things that are making it relevant to go to the library, which I feel like some people might think, are we not going to have libraries around anymore because of all of the things that are available online to you now? You can get audiobooks immediately. But there's such a need for libraries, and I think that she made the point, and I'm sure all of you listening will also hear that too, that, we need libraries. They're relevant. People thrive there.
Exactly. There is resource for the community. Yeah. And I don't see them going away anytime soon, thank goodness, because we need them. Yeah. So without further ado, here's Nadia Orozco-Sahi. Well, welcome, Nadia. Thank you so much for being here. We're really excited to talk to you.
Thanks for having me.
Before we jump into your job and whatnot, we want to talk a little bit about your background. Where did you grow up? And did you always think you wanted to be a librarian when you were little?
I grew up kind of all over the place until landing in New Mexico. I was born in California. From California, we moved to Malaysia.
Oh.
From Malaysia to Bolivia, Bolivia to Michigan, Michigan here.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
And we wound up here because my mom had actually come to UNM she came as an exchange student, studied at
Oh.
UNM because it was like the only person her family knew in the States happened to live in New Mexico. So they were like, at least there'll be someone there if there's an emergency, if you need anything, at least we know someone in New Mexico.
Right.
And so she ended up coming to UNM, and that's why we ended up back here.
What was that shift like from like the States and out of the States and then back in? So what was that like?
I mean, I was young. We left California when I was 3. So I started school in Malaysia. I still have like my workbooks in like Chinese that I don't understand, but
Did you understand it then?
not fully. I think we had a housekeeper who spoke primarily Chinese, and I know that like we used to sing songs together.
Oh,
And
that's
I don't
cool.
know how like conversational
Right.
conversational Chinese, how much of that I knew, but like enough to start writing and to sing some songs.
Right. Do your parents have videos of you singing? I want to see this.
I do. We're going to play a clip right now.
Yeah.
I am sure they do on VHSs somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask about it.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was young enough to not notice the shifts too much, right? And then when we moved to Bolivia, it was kind of a standing ground. We were just there because we had family there and figuring out our next move. So we were there for a few months, and I did a little bit of primary school there. And then moving back to the States, it was all... I don't remember like there being a big mental shift and like, oh, we're back in the United States versus not being in the United
Yeah.
States.
How old were you when you came back to Mexico?
I started first grade in Michigan and then third grade in New Mexico.
And then, like, once you came to New Mexico, like, that was it. Did you ever move?
That was it. I think for
Okay.
a few years, certainly my brother and I were like, is this it?
Yeah.
Is this where we're going to be for a while? Since coming back from the third grade, we've been here since.
And so did you always love being really organized?
I like things to have a place, certainly. Getting a degree in it helped me definitely know how to not just put things in their place, but then find them later when you need them. That's pretty much what a master's in library science is. It's how to organize and how to find it once you've organized it. So
Yeah. So what sparked your interest to
In
go in that
libraries?
Yeah.
books. That's the boring answer, but like my folks were both big readers. They raised us as big readers. We used to have like reading parties at home where it was just everyone had their own book, but we all sat together in the living room and quietly read for a while.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I really need to do
know.
that with my kids.
Well, that's what I was going to ask, if you've carried the tradition on now with your kids.
Well, our oldest has just started reading and not in her head yet.
Oh, okay.
So so we can have a reading party, but it's mostly everybody listening to her
Yeah.
read.
Which is fine.
Which is
Yeah.
fine. And the twins will sit down with books and go through them and make up stories, and look at the pictures. So we do a lot of reading in the house, but they're not old enough to have a true reading party yet.
Right. Okay. I can't wait till it happens. Can I come?
Yes,
Okay.
definitely. The more the
Yeah.
merrier to sit
Yay.
quietly. and
Yeah,
read.
exactly. I love that. Just a silent party.
For sure.
Yeah.
But it didn't start with libraries. It started at Barnes & Noble. It started just with books. And then I happened to have someone at Barnes & Noble who came in who was a librarian. And she kind of brought me along on various conventions and things that she was doing. And she told me, like, you're doing great here, but you should probably be in a library. So she kind of mentored me through that process, helped me with my application to grad school, and helped get me my first job in libraries. So having her was kind of the drive to move into libraries.
Yeah, that's huge. And a big theme throughout our podcast anyway is mentorship, right? And what that means to people. So it sounds like you had a great mentor who really exposed you to your passion.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I have found that my mentors, like I recognize them as mentors once we already have a relationship, or even after once the relationship has run its course. And I'm like, oh, that person really did a lot. That was a mentor. Not necessarily that I recognized it in the moment, but in hindsight, recognizing the people who have shepherded me through various stages in my career and personal growth.
Sure. And do you keep in touch with some or most of them?
I am in touch with all of them. Yes.
So do they know now that
They are considered mentors? Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. I feel like it's important to tell people, like I
Yeah.
tell Stacey all the time. She's a mentor to me, and it's true. So anyway, I think it's important to tell people, like, when they've had a big influence in your life in whatever way.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And I think not just that kind of elder mentor, someone who's already in a profession, who already has experience, but I am also a really big proponent of peer mentorship, peer to peer mentorship, and have been lucky enough to have some of those kind of groups and communities as well. And I think being mentors to each other through moments in life that, or moments in careers that you can work through in the moment with a similar perspective and at a similar level without someone necessarily like prescribing the here's how I did it and how you should, but like
Right.
here's some options to work through this and I'm in the same place so we can work through it together, I think has also been really beneficial.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I love that. Very true.
Okay, was there any point in your studies where you're like, maybe not?
In library school, no. Library school was fun.
Okay, great.
In, undergrad, certainly. And I didn't realize I was going to become a librarian. I studied English and I started thinking that I was going to be pre-law because I really enjoyed my law classes in high school, thought that was something I would enjoy doing. I realized I like the stories. Like I was in mock trial and model UN and I enjoyed more than the study of the law, I enjoyed the stories of the law.
Yeah.
And, I'm still in a field that values stories, but the actual competitiveness of the legal field was something that is just not my personality.
Right. Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah.
Like, no. Yeah. I have a really hard question for you, and you might not have an answer, so I'm sorry. What's your favorite book?
Oh, man.
She said it was hard.
It is a hard one. I have favorite books in various genres, in
Okay.
various times of my life. I also have a hard time answering this question because philosophically, my true answer is Les Mis.
Okay, there you go.
I've read it several times in several translations, and I love it. I think Les Mis and The Count of Monte Cristo are like the tops of my list. Yeah, I think they're two close to flawless pieces of fiction, at least. And then, the answer is different in nonfiction or in recent publications or different genres. But
Yeah, I love that because and I love what you said. Like, it depends on where you are in your life,
Yeah.
right? Like, there's different phases of life that, yeah.
What are yours?
Oh, God. I don't know. I did not expect this question to be turned around. I think A Cup of Water Under My Bed, like, really changed my life. So I would say that one. And if, people haven't read it, it's fantastic. Do you have a favorite book, Stacey?
Well, now you have to.
I know,
I
now
don't
you have
have
to.
a favorite book. I feel the pressure when you guys are saying it. I was like, I hope they don't ask me. And then, of course, you guys asked me. So there we are. I like series of books. So more than like one. So whatever comes in like a series.
Oh,
I
yeah.
used to be really into heavy Greek mythology. I almost minored in it.
Oh.
So I love all of those stories. So,
Yeah. Yeah, it's all about the storytelling.
For sure, for sure.
What's the last good book that you read?
Immortality.
Oh.
And it's just about a female that wants to get into the medical field, but she's in a time where that's not acceptable. So it's just, I like it.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Okay. I'm adding that one to my list.
Okay.
I have
pressure.
a long list.
I'm like, I need a fan. I feel like I was on the hot seat for a second. Okay.
You talked about public libraries being different from academic. Can you talk a little bit about what that difference is?
Yeah, for me, the public library is, and not that the academic isn't, but public library is so much about serving the community. And it's about putting on events, it's being a community space, it's having the resources that they need for doing taxes, for finding a particular person or industry in the town that's going to help them with whatever question they have. And then it's also book recommendations. It's a lot of what are you reading and what do you want to read next, and keeping on top of what's being published and what's being talked about and which authors are big. And so it's more entertainment focused, certainly, but also community resource focused. They have, seed libraries and the library of things, so you can get a leveler or a stud finder or something to measure your electricity output at your house, right? Like public libraries provide almost anything you could possibly need.
Yeah, I actually have a story about that. When we first moved here to the United States, my mom, we moved to Moriarty, right? Small town, but my mom knew that like one of the big hubs for resources was going to be the public library. So she would go to the public library. I think every single day she would go and take us there and help us get books to like learn English and all these things. But she would also ask about English classes. And so, at first they were like, we don't have that, blah, blah, blah. But let me see, what we can do, right? So she'd go back every single day until finally someone was like, we found a community member who's willing to tutor you. Like, are you, okay with doing that? And yeah, she started meeting with this lady who was tutoring her in English. And then that became a nonprofit that my mom now runs, right?
That's
now,
amazing.
Isn't that really cool? But
It's
it
a
all
great
started
story,
from going to a public library asking for those resources. Yeah.
I like her persistence until
Yeah,
it happened.
exactly. She's like, no, this is going to happen for me. That is my mother.
Yeah, and those librarians, got to know
Yeah,
her. She was there every day. You
exactly.
guys were there every day.
Yeah.
And so they were able to make that connection, find that resource.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, because of libraries being such a resource, I think they're trying to, well, from my viewpoint, they're trying to pivot to make sure that they're capturing people and like their areas of interest. So there's one up by me in Rio Rancho called The Hub, and they have a pickleball on one side, and then on the other side, it's the library, which is great because it's like, yeah, we want to go play, and then we're going to pick up our books on the way out. Like, how fun is that? So I don't know if, like, do you see that as a common thing happening more frequently to just kind of keep the interest in going to libraries, that they kind of have to create these other elements within the library to maybe draw people in?
Don't necessarily. The hub is a really good example of something that's meeting a community need because there was no library up there, right? The Rio Rancho Public Libraries was serving that area with the Estrabón branch and the Loma Colorado branch. Like the way that their hours worked and the way that they were situated in the community, just not that they're necessarily trying to reach more people, but trying to be a resource to more people, try to be available, right? Libraries are all about access.
So you talked about, the kind of resources and whatnot the public libraries provide. What is the academic kind of side of it?
A lot of the goals are the same. We still want to be a place of community where people can gather, people can find the resources they need. At UNM at least, like there is a sense that you are primarily serving the student population, the students, the faculty, the staff. There's a focus on information literacy on the kind of faculty side of it, that like not only are we going to find you the thing, but we'd really like to help you learn how to trust the things you're finding and help you find them on your own, like educating more than just providing resources. But we still, we have events, we are a community space, we're open later and longer hours than any other place on campus. We have study spaces and chill spaces and a Starbucks.
I definitely used all of that when I was in college.
Yeah, Zimmerman mostly. Yeah.
Yep.
And so we're still like want to be that place you can go to for questions, but also that place you can go to just because we're there.
Is checking out a book or reserving a study space, is that limited to faculty and students?
Some of the rooms are. So we do have group study rooms, what we call 2-week cubbies. So they're bookable for 2 weeks if you have something upcoming that you just need a space to go to focus. And those are bookable only by students and faculty. Yeah. All of our spaces are open to the public as long as you have a photo ID. And all of our resources are fully available if you're on campus and connected to our Wi-Fi. So don't even have to be in the library, but anywhere on campus, you get full access to pretty much all of our databases, whether or not you're a student or faculty.
Okay. So as alum, because Stacy has a very specific book that you need to find.
I need to get there. It's called New Mexico Families, and my 99-year-old grandmother, her dad's in that book, and I would love to either take a photocopy of it or whatever just to show her, like, look, because she hasn't seen it in so long. So that would be fun, but I don't even know that's even a possibility. But it's exciting that the public can still go in there.
Absolutely. And we house the Center for Southwest Research, which is it's a big depository of like statewide documents and the history of New Mexico and the history of UNM. They have a really cool collection of all kinds of things. They would probably have that.
I think it's so fascinating what people are researching when they come to you. Do you like hearing what they're researching?
Yeah, that's the best part for sure. Like I like knowing things, preferably all the things.
Yeah.
And so, getting a question is going to take me a few hours of digging around. And then now I know this new thing that I didn't know a few hours before is always fun. Or like finding the exact resource or the exact article that like proves a point is always feels good.
Yeah, I would love that. And then I'd be like, and good luck on that paper.
Right.
I'm glad I don't have to write that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, Nadia's amazing at trivia. So if you need a partner.
Ooh, I don't know if that's true.
It's true.
But
we've played trivia. Well, I played against you and you totally annihilated me. So I know this.
I know some random facts about some random. I don't have great general knowledge, but
I disagree. this is going to be like that one question of like, what does your day to day look like? And I know that it probably changes and whatnot, but what does that look like?
Right now, so I've been in this position a few months. A lot of it is teaching, which it wasn't before.
Okay.
So I have courses that I go into to teach a couple times a week, and that's different than my day used to be. And it is incredibly variable because it depends on when that particular class meets. Like we go into a class and help them search databases or work on their research project or think about how they're trusting their sources and information and digital literacy, right? That changes day to day, week to week, how often and when that's happening. A lot of it is monitoring emails, which
My
is,
favorite.
yeah, so much fun.
No.
And then it changes depending on what projects we're working on, if we're trying to get a course off the ground, if we're trying to put together resources or materials for a particular subject or topic, and then individual consultations. So students who have sent a question and want to meet about something, want to sit down, and then lots of time for personal research because as librarians at UNM on a tenure track, you are required to publish.
Oh, okay. So does that mean you're going to publish?
So I have a couple of things right now. One project I'm working on with colleagues, which is looking at first generation students, how the library contributes to their sense of belonging on campus. And then my personal research is around silence, which I find really fascinating.
Okay, I was just going to ask, do you like quiet?
I do like quiet.
How often do you get it?
With 3 kids and yeah, all the running around. I think silence is fascinating philosophically and just in general. I'm also a musician. I think the way like silence is super intentional in music is interesting. It's super intentional in poetry and in prose and certain spaces. Like, is silence just an absence of noise, or is it some kind of internal thing that you can find? Or like, do you have to be in some kind of sensory deprivation to achieve true silence? Or so the research I'm doing right now, like specifically focuses around silence, architectural silence, like when silence is made intentional by spaces. So like here you've got these soundboards around the room that are dampening sound a little bit. But like churches, places of worship are often designed to encourage silence. Libraries are one of those spaces that like there's a reverence there, like in churches and in libraries that like just inspires silence, whether or not it's specifically asking you for that.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, you hear, use your library voice all the time, right? Like to be more, no, is that, am I the only one
I
that
don't know
knows
that
it?
I've
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. I was
I
like,
just know
wait.
inside voice.
Inside
Oh.
voice, yeah.
I'll start using library voice.
That's
Then.
your
I like
library
it.
voice. You gotta be softer.
For your particular job, for others that may be interested in following your similar path, what are some of the skill sets that you have found that are critical to doing what you do?
A sense of curiosity, certainly, because you'll be pulled in all kinds of different directions. Like there is no one thing that libraries or librarians do. So being flexible, being curious, being persistent sometimes, like you're not always going to find the thing that you need right away or that somebody else is asking for. And building connections, because a lot of times, even if I don't know something or can't find something, I at least can point to somebody else and say like, I'm having a really hard time with this. Maybe we should talk to this other person. So having a network, having a community of folks who are, people are also resources, not just databases and things, right? People are resources. And so having a good community around you to reach out to, I think those are all kind of essential.
Do you think that it requires a certain type of personality? Like if you're an introvert or an extrovert, or does it not matter?
I don't think it matters. I think there's definitely a perception that we're all introverts, and I certainly am, but not all of my colleagues are. The extroversion with the events and things definitely helps, and I think it takes all kinds. I think that's true everywhere, like a diversity of characters
Yeah.
contributes to a more well-rounded and holistic workplace, so a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Everyone's
very
welcome.
True. The more the merrier.
Yeah.
Did you ever have any experience that was like, whoa, I did not expect this in a library?
I mean, our recent big party in the library was unexpected, but like in the best ways, right? Like we had a DJ playing
Oh,
music.
Oh my gosh,
and
it's so breaking the silence.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
That
That's
was
so cool.
to defy expectations was kind of part of our mission there. So we had a DJ and we had e-gaming that was streaming and we had lawn games and in the basement and just general rowdiness, and that was great.
Nice.
And people really got into it and enjoyed kind of seeing the library in a new way. In terms of things that have surprised me, I think because I came from retail and the behaviors and things that I encountered in retail were so crazy that then moving into libraries was like, this is the worst you have to deal with. This is
Like, this is
this
nothing.
is so easy. So yeah, nothing immediately comes to mind for libraries. A few immediately come to mind for Barnes and Noble.
Oh,
but
Yeah, let's hear them.
we had a particular customer who we'd had issues with before, right? Barnes and Noble libraries are spaces for all. We don't require that you buy anything. We don't require that you do anything or speak to. It's just we are open, and you are welcome to be there as long as you follow our, guidelines. And Barnes and Noble, a lot of people considered that to be like a library in that way, even though it wasn't meant necessarily to be used that way. And so we had regular customers, certainly, and we had one particularly who was occasionally violent, occasionally very loud and shouting slurs and being aggressive towards other customers and threatening, that we'd called the police a few times when it had gotten out of hand, never had much of a response. And so we had a protocol for this customer that when he came in, we formed a perimeter
Oh, wow.
of booksellers, far enough away from him that he was able to walk around the store and browse and be alone, but close enough to move other people away from him.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Whoa. Oh.
Wow, I know.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
So that was crazy. And we had, people break down our back door to get into the stock room in the back. And it was, just all
My
that doesn't
gosh.
happen in libraries.
Yeah,
Right.
what?
You want the books? They're free.
Like,
Just get a card.
here you go.
That library card, it's free. That's wild.
That is really funny.
So do you feel like you found your home at University of New Mexico?
I do. It's great. It's lovely being on a campus that is so diverse, that serves such a large and diverse population, that is kind of culturally rooted in New Mexico and our heritage, but also very engaging and supportive of people from across the board. We have traditional and non-traditional students. We have student centers for all kinds of different identities that support our students through various crises and just day-to-day life, like the food pantry, helping with food insecurity, helping with housing insecurity, helping with being on a campus that, and maybe this is true of all university campuses, I don't know. I went to UNM, so I'm a little biased. It's great being somewhere that feels like it really cares about its population, its community. My colleagues are all wonderful people who I feel like I learn from every day. Yeah, just getting to do something that I love with people who also love doing it it's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
How do you maintain a healthy work-life balance?
One of the great things about UNM is they are very supportive and have a pretty flexible policy. So I am able to work from home quite often and when needed, and that's great for maintaining some of that. Heavy scheduling, like having a really good organized calendar is very helpful for setting aside time where this is what I will have to be doing at this time. Having partners who are very supportive and giving time and space and allowing that when needed is great. Yeah, I don't know, finding, as a person who likes silence and quiet, finding space for that to help all the other things fall into place. That's what works for me.
Yeah. I love that. Just take some quiet time.
Just some quiet time.
Yeah.
Yeah, some alone time.
Yes, I love that. Ready for
Yeah.
rapid? Rapid,
Ready?
not so rapid.
Ready.
Rapid, not so rapid.
What's your go-to lunch?
I don't have one. I'm not a big food is not a thing that I have to eat it, but I don't. Cereal would be.
Cereal?
If I could
Okay.
eat cereal every meal of the day, that's what I'd be eating.
Which kind?
Yeah, what kind?
I like Cocoa Pebbles, Honey Nut Cheerios, Honey Bunches of Oats, Golden Graham, all the cereals. But just if they could provide me all the nutrients, that's what I'd be eating all the time.
Work from home or in the office?
Office when I need to really focus, home when I have more wiggle room.
Can you describe your current job using only emojis?
I don't use emojis. I like words.
That's very true.
We've never been in this position.
I guess a stack of books and is there a magnifying glass?
There is.
Okay, great.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Is there one with a shh?
Oh,
Is there one?
Maybe.
Yeah,
Is there?
isn't there
Yeah,
like-
John is saying yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right,
there
that
you go.
throw that one
That
in.
one.
Okay. What's your biggest phobia?
Constant noise, I guess. Just chaos without reason.
One piece of technology that you can live without for your
I
job.
mean, my phone. Is that everyone's answer? I just access. Yeah.
Yeah.
And your favorite part of your job?
Learning new things constantly. I love the learning.
And red or green?
Green.
Green, yeah, for like everything.
Almost everything.
Almost
Tamales are better with red.
With red, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming in today. I really
Thank you,
appreciate it.
guys. This is great.
Nadia.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yay.
Bye.
Oh yeah, bye.
Bye. This has been a New Mexico Department of Workforce Solutions production.
Our producer is Mila Pulaski.
This episode was engineered and mixed by John Sloan.
Theme music is One Fine Day, courtesy of Podcast.co.
Follow the show on social media at GoodJobNM.
For program funding, visit dws.state.nm.us/funding.
Bye.